So we're looking at something a bit different today, a low down flower arrangement using some bark from the woodland. And welcome back to another tutorial. My name's Sharon. It's lovely to see you once again. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then please do so and hit that notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new tutorial. Now, I run a few online courses and I run some classes here in the studio as well, and I'm quite often left with a variety of short cut down flowers that I've used in previous arrangements. Now, I've got a metal base here, metal container, that I picked up relatively cheaply in a local shop when it was closing down, and I have quite a big selection of them. And what I've done is I've glued some just ordinary bark that you would find falling down in the woodland. I've glued some onto the side of the container using hot glue, and I've also added just a small amount of moss to give me some interesting texture and a contrast against the bark. Today I'm using the FIBRE Floral, which is a product by Smithers Oasis. It's a more sustainably sourced mechanic, although it does still need to go in landfill, but unfortunately it's not classed as biodegradable, so it can't go in your compost bin. And I'm going to try today using it dry. It's a strange material to work with, and if you haven't used it before, feels a little bit like rock wool. Can be a bit of an irritant and can be quite itchy on your fingers. It's quite a soft material to work with, and it does sometimes fall apart when you're working with it. So I've read lots of information about it, and I've discovered that you can use the foam dry and then hydrate it at the end, and I'm wondering if that will prevent it from almost sort of splitting and disintegrating as you use it. Filled the container with about 2/3 of a block and some offcuts so that I've almost filled the complete container. You'll see there's a bit of the Flora fibre foam visible on the sides, but I'm going to use some flowers or foliages in a minute to fill that in. So each week I get lots of these short flowers left over from classes and workshops, and I don't always get the opportunity to use them in other designs through the week. So I thought it would be a good way of using up all those short stems to create this low down grouped and sort of textured arrangement. On the sides, in the areas where you can see little bits of floral foam, I've rounded off the flowers so that there's a lovely link and a join between the flower section and the base itself. I don't want to hide that base because it's a really nice, interesting texture. And by adding the flowers in from the bottom and working your way to the top, it means that I'm going to get a lovely pattern forming as the flowers are added in. I just want to create a lot of texture and a lot of base work. So you can see there a couple of different sections of flowers. What I am trying to consider is the different textures of the flowers alongside one another, and the different colours and the different shapes. If the flower is a pale creamy colour, then it's nice to have a contrasting shade alongside it. Although a lot of the flowers that I'm using in this arrangement are a fairly similar colour. Now, a couple of the paler rose, and it has opened up quite nicely and there's a slight darker centre to it, so that is a really pretty colour. At the moment it's quite pale, but I do have from the summer, left from a job that we did during the summer, I have some dried gypsophilia, and I've got it in two colours. This is almost a mustard shade, and this is going to work really nicely to give me a contrast in the texture and a contrast in the colour. So it's a darker, more rich colour. It's going to work really well against those very pale coloured roses and carnations. We did one of these gorgeous floral clouds for a wedding, and because the venue had the heating on and the room was quite warm, the gypsophilia dried beautifully in that design that was hanging from the ceiling. So I've got lots of little bits of gypsophilia here that I can use throughout the rest of the year. Now we're almost finished with one layer. So far arranging the flowers in the dry foam is working quite well. It's always a little bit harder when you arrange from the side because of the composition of the foam itself, but you can see there a lovely domed based effect. One little gap around here which I'll fill with another rose, but I'm quite happy so far with the way that is coming together. As well as the mustard colour gypsophila, I've also got this darker peach shade, and this is also going to look really great. It's going to add a completely different colour in alongside those very pale carnations. Now I'm trying to ensure that the flower heads, whether it's the chrysanthemum, carnation, or it's the gypsophilia, are all on a very similar length. That one's a bit floppy, but we can prop it up with another flower. So I'm trying to make sure that they're in fairly similar size clusters, rather than making one section much bigger than the other. And the pattern and the colour repeated throughout the design will make your eye move rhythmically from one part of the arrangement to the other. Now I'm hoping that at the end, when I add the water in, it's going to absorb it quite quickly. The FIBRE FLORAL from Oasis is a product that's aimed at florists and flower arrangers looking to use more sustainable products. Unfortunately, we can't yet put it on the compost heap, but I'm sure that will come very soon as they improve their technology and their methods. You will of course find lots of videos on the channel where I've used wire mesh or pin holders, and I'm always looking at new methods and practicing them before we talk about them on the YouTube channel. But that's coming together really nicely. You can see that there's no foam showing at the side here, so none of my mechanics are showing, and this would be great. What I love about this style of arranging is if you do them in pairs or sets of threes and you run them down the length of a table. So maybe you're going to a function or maybe a wedding and you don't want anything large on the table. I always think this style of arranging is quite impressive and creates a lovely visual sort of effect on the table. And then of course at the end of the wedding or the event, whatever the function is, you can always let your guests take them home so they can enjoy them in their own home. So just that top section there to fill in now. Now this is similar to a Pavé design, which is very popular in floristry and flower arranging, and it's a style of arranging that you can do loosely like this, or you can do creating regimented patterns, lines or groupings of flowers, and it's quite a good one to practice with after you've made a large arrangement and you've got lots of small flowers hanging around that can't be used. Now my colour combination here is obviously quite pale, but you could choose to use brightly coloured flowers and create something in a much more modern colour harmony. Now I'm coming up to the final sort of few placements. Little section of chrysanthemums on that side there, and then I've just got that top centre piece to finish off. The best type of flowers to use in this arrangement is single stem flowers. So roses, gerbera work really well, carnations, chrysanthemums that you can cut down and use the individual stems are great. But I would avoid anything like spray roses or spray carnations. Lisianthus don't work particularly well. Think about those big blooms that we can get hold of, dahlias, hydrangeas, anything that's going to knit together really well and give you that close bond in your design. So my final carnation, I'm just going to pop that in at the top there. And we've got that beautifully textured arrangement. Gorgeous bark edge. Colours work so well together. And this could be any shape. Could be oval, round, but together in a big line, it works fantastically well. So now the moment of truth. Let's see what happens when we very slowly add fresh clean water. This has got flower food already added to it. One of the advantages of the Fibre Floral from Smithers Oasis is that it does absorb water really quickly. And we'll just try and remove a few of the flowers to see whether or not that foam has swollen up around the stems. It's worked quite well and has kept them into place. So thank you for watching. A little bit of a different tutorial today, something that you can all try at home. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give us a comment in the box below whether you like or dislike this style of arranging. It's always nice to have feedback from you. Let me know what part of the world you're watching from, and I look forward to seeing you for another tutorial. So thanks for watching and goodbye for now.